Welcome, welcome. We appreciate you all. We are very excited today. We have a very special guest, Rob Peeklow. Just learned how to say his name here. He gave me a very easy way to remember it. Peak and Low, for those of you out there, if you don't know, he recently took over as the COO of AFR, and we're here to talk about everything AFR specific, really talking about some pain points, all the things that the community has been talking about. They have been a massive, massive AIM supporter for quite some time. I'm growing a relationship with him. Overall, incredible human being. He's also been helping a lot inside of our Brokers Are Better Facebook group, giving you guys insights, helping from a high level perspective. Rob, welcome, sir. How are you doing today?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jonathan. And we are I've been talking about it for like the last couple of weeks. We are so excited to finally reintroduce AFR to the Brokers Are Better community.
And before we get into that, just a quick background about you, right? Not a lot of people know your background. They don't know you come from the origination side, but if you can give us just a quick overview of your life prior to getting into this role.
Yeah, it's been a full circle moment here with this AFR transaction. I was actually at AFR. I learned the mortgage business at AFR, which is why I have this unique, weird, sometimes way over my head skill set that I had to do when I was at AFR initially. But I was there from 2003 all the way through to 2008, 17, 18. I sold back to some shareholders at that time. But during my stint there, I was able to run a small retail group, then all of retail. We had a little bit different type of business model. There was a very small wholesale channel that kind of grew post-crisis. Ran capital markets there from 2010 to 2015, then ran strategy, basically all investor channels, all capital markets, and building out a consumer direct brand there until 2018. And then I left and went to a gigantic distressed publicly traded company called Ditech, where I got to run originations there. Got to run originations, got to run wholesale correspondent and the retail channel, or really the retention channel there. We got up to about $1.5 billion originations per month. I got to oversee that, which was crazy to see 6,000 loans come in each and every month. And after that, went all the way full circle. We sold to New Res, and I started my own brokerage. Went back and started a brokerage with Sean Hammond, and we had a small little brokerage and worked kind of back to our roots, the origination roots, and tried to build out that brokerage. We ended up bolting on to U-Mortgage, which you guys are all familiar with. Yep. And then, I would say I've done consulting work, a lot of consulting work, and this opportunity came up as, from a fund that was looking to purchase and kind of get into the origination vertical. They had done some stuff in mortgage in the past, a lot of trading in the mortgage side, and they wanted to purchase an originator. So I worked with them as a consultant to kind of find a target, and that ended up, going, hey, I think I know somebody you guys might want to buy. Talking to the AFR crew, and we were able to figure out a deal. And then in February, we closed, and they offered me the opportunity to come in as chief operating officer and oversee kind of the change management that's going to be needed over the next few years.
So what is that process like for those that don't know? So I don't think a lot of people know that acquisition occurred so recently. What is that process like for you? And then now going into the role that you're in today, just coming from the origination side, seeing everything that you've seen, now you're here buying a massive entity with a fund that you've built and consulted for. What are the biggest differences, and how do you even come about that?
Yeah, it's hard. It's actually a weird story. I won't get too far into it, but the person that was at the fund that kind of talked to me is actually someone I went to high school with. And somebody who helped me a ton when I started in the capital markets world. I didn't know what we're doing. Like, I had no clue. I was new to it. I literally bought a mortgage-backed security book and read it. And that was like the 2010, 2011, and learned how to do capital markets. And with his help along the way, he was running the secondary group over at PennyMac. And he helped so much. And then he went to this fund and reached out, and that's where the connection was made. But it's just a long-term friendship that we were always talked about working together at some point. And this was our opportunity. But yeah, it's a weird process. It's a very weird process, especially, for myself coming in, and AFR has a lot of people that have been there for a long time. So, you go in and you see, I think 80% of the staff was there when I left in 2018. So it's the same staff.
You know what's crazy too. One, obviously, him coming from high school, I didn't know that, so that's fascinating. But that just really talks about relationships and connections and how important those can be for you when you don't know it, because you don't know what 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the road is going to look like. But what I do know is that you could be a good person to people, and
Yeah.
that can turn into something at some point or another. Part of transitioning over, I've experienced this coming into my new role early on. Right, the first 30 days were rough. For those of you watching, let's not pretend that it wasn't an absolute dumpster fire. And you have to have so much mental fortitude with dealing with it. And you have to learn to read between the lines, right? Like, what are people really upset about? What are they mad at? And so for you coming in from your new role, your new perspective, company that you know worked for, worked with in the past, what have been some of your hurdles just from a leadership side about getting that buy-in with all the ideas and the potential changes that you want to see?
Yeah, change mindset, and it's tough in our mortgage space. People are definitely kind of stuck in their ways and have done it a certain way. You always hear that saying, "This is the way I've always done it." Well, I'm going to stop for a second because I want to mention this for you, Jonathan. You know, I can't get over the job that you've done over the last few months. This isn't a fluff you up moment here. This is the truth. We had our first call. You don't know this. I didn't. This is not scripted, folks. This is going to be funny. But we had our first call, and we did our introduction when we were just getting started. I finished the call, hung up, went to my team. I went, "We're out. We're out. Like, that's it. No way. We're out. What the heck was that?" And no joke, that's how it started, right? And then I took a moment and reflecting in my position and seeing what was thrown at you for the first 30 days. And we were in the middle of it. You were in the middle of it, getting hit every direction. And you had a moment and there, you know, for you, you were there in a prove it. You were trying to prove that you were worthy of the position. You're worthy of the position, man. You're doing a really, really good job. And over the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we saw what you were doing, how you were jumping in and leading by example and showing what you wanted this community to be. And we were back in. And I want to say that because that's the truth. That you could ask my team that. But you've done an incredible job and you're proving it every single day. What we see you're doing in the community, what you're doing with these live streams, all this stuff it's so exciting to see that. And I know what you're going through with a change in regime and coming back and having to deal with, you know, significant hurdles, you know, trying to kind of change the perception of something. And you've done a great job with it.
Thank you, man. It's very rare that I'm at a loss for words, but that's not the conversation I thought you did. You did get me, and I am more grateful than you know, man. And just you giving me the chance, you giving us the opportunity. It is a big deal, and this is something I love more than you could possibly imagine, and I'm sure you can't imagine. Just kind of watching me operate, I've never felt more fulfilled, even though it's one of the most difficult things I've ever done. It's really, truly the best thing is all the people now that are complimenting and they want the help and they're excited for the support. So I really appreciate that story a lot. And that's not one I'll ever forget. That'll be a core memory for sure. So thank you for that.
So now back to the question,
yes,
we'll
please.
say the community won, right, in that. And that's what we're trying to do as well. So like the community is you know, with BAB and AIM in general, like that community is one and it shows it's stronger than any one person or one group. And that community is there now. For me, we had this mindset kind of shift that needed to happen. And sometimes it just happens over time where I think sometimes we forget who the customer is. And instead of being in a fashion of like our customer should be grateful that we're here with a product that no one else offers at the time. That's all we were really known for is these niche products. We have to turn it around and be so incredibly grateful that a loan officer or a broker has sent us a loan, and that's what matters here. We should be incredibly grateful for the loan. It's hard to get a loan. Like it's not easy out there. Now, mind you, they have 250 plus choices they can take this loan. They just went out there. If they send it to the wrong lender, they may lose not only that loan, but the opportunity for that referral partner to ever come back. They have all of these options, and they looked up and said, "Hey, I'm going to give AFR a loan." Holy cow. Like we have to be incredibly grateful for the fact that they're letting it all ride on us, on me. That's how we wake up every day. And we think about the process and what we're changing and what we're trying to do is just being incredibly grateful for the fact that we got a chance to really grow this person's business. And we have a chance, if we fail, we're going to ruin their business. And that's how we're attacking every moment. We're looking like just that client experience, what that customer experience is like. and just being grateful for the loan that comes in, because we know how hard it is to get that in and what's riding, with that one loan.
And the part I love is you originated. You've been in the trenches. You are still in the trenches, and having that perspective is what changes the dynamic. And that's one of the things, me coming in as an originator still, I understood that side of it that not a lot of people get, right? Especially if you don't originate. So you coming in with that mindset allows people to feel more confident and comfortable when it comes to what you guys are about and what you're doing. And you guys have had some pain points, and we've talked about this behind the scenes here. Some of those pain points, you're reading it. You're not naive. You're very privy to it. It's not like you're just looking at the good. You want to know what's also bad. And so for me, hearing that as somebody that's signed up with you guys here with my company as well, that's like a really big deal. How do you address those pain points, some of the concerns the community have had, especially with obviously transitioning to new leadership, all the changes that have occurred? Like, how do you take those head on when it comes to those pain points?
Alcohol. Incredible amounts of it's painful. Like I have a tough time because I read every comment. I'm that guy, right? Every comment, every thread. I think I mentioned to you, I went on a binge. It was like Friday. It was like a Friday night, and I think it was probably like 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night. I had just finished up a bunch of work that we were doing for the investor presentation, and I went down the rabbit hole of social media and looking up AFR and comments. I messaged or replied to 162. I write it down because I remember it, and I snipped a lot of them from my own personal motivation board here. Every single one that had a negative experience or a comment over the last year or 2 years, whatever it might be, every single one. And I messaged people. Like, I had to find out why. Like, what is it? What was so bad about the process? What was this overconditioning? What was this? And we went in, and I got, probably 80 or so replies to that or messages back, and people that wanted to help. Some people said they would help, didn't. Other people jumped in. Other people, and that means you're getting, messages at, how it is, like 2 a.m. You're getting messages at 6 a.m. You're getting messages at 10 o'clock at night. You're always on. But like, to me, that's why we work. Like, that's what we're all trying to fix this perception or this process and make it better for them. So we need all the feedback. So I went in and we went head on. It didn't matter what it was. I've had people, there were some funny ones. I felt like I was reading mean tweets during it. You're like, oh man, it's like, I don't know why AFR is in the mortgage business and this blah, blah, blah. If they don't want to lend money, this is the word. And you're like reading, you're like, oh my gosh, you're like, this is bad. So I went to my team and like, we laid them out. We laid out some of these things and said, hey, this is what's going on. Let's go through the steps. What's the low hanging fruit we could fix immediately? And we started doing that and started attacking it. And we've been, 90 days into making change. But our approach is not hiding behind anything. AFR isn't this like weird cloaked entity. It's like, we're open. Like, just message me, send me a note, say, hey, listen, I had a bad experience, or hey, I had a great experience. I want to hear it all and get all the feedback. And we like immediately make changes. We had a disclosure issue that popped up. Immediately we made a change and it was fixed. It's just something we just don't know about sometimes as we go through the process. So until you live it, but we're making, I would say, a significant amount of changes, on a daily basis, just to make the experience for the broker better.
And you know what it is, man, too. The thing I love the most is this goes to not just your business, but this goes to everybody. You're not afraid to look yourself in the mirror, right? Oh, yeah. You're not afraid to have those difficult conversations. I think that was the biggest thing, even for me up front, was like, I was just grabbing the phone and making the calls, fine. Like, if you're going to do it, just tell me, like, what is it? What's the feedback? What do you actually need? And then addressing it with your team. Those are some of the more difficult conversations that we had to have, was with our team members here at AIM, and having those conversations. Hey, here's what people are saying. And so for you to be able to do that, like, that goes such a long way, because it sucks. It's not fun reading those comments. It's not fun getting roasted on something that you love. It's your pride. It's your joy. It's something that you want to be excited about. So for you to do that goes a very long way with me. And I know with our community as well. And that's why, when you and I were talking, going over the pain points is a real deal. Like, let's not ignore it. Hey, we know what you're upset about. Here's what we're doing to fix it. So what are some of the steps that you're taking that you believe will continue to make the changes that we're already seeing, that you're already doing? But what were some of those steps?
Yeah, it's gaining the feedback and just eliminating all friction in our process. Like, that was it. Like, there was just stuff that was in place. There's things, listen, there's parts of the process that maybe I even put in back in 2017, that are causing some pain that they hadn't changed. So like, you have to come to the realization that nobody's perfect. Like, in this business right now, it's so competitive You have the UWMs of the world, right, that sit there. And I was laughing. We had an example of somebody that brought a loan to us and was trying to disclose. And there was one issue with the disclosure piece. And they literally went through. And the next morning I messaged him saying, hey, I saw there was an issue. Did you get solved? He's like, yeah, it's solved. I pulled the loan. I sent it to UWM. It's approved already.
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, that's what we're battling. Yeah. And, and we have to step up our game. So for us, it's stepping up our game, getting to the technology point and doing the things that we're very good at and putting that out to the community. Like, I'm not going to build you a CRM. I'm not going to send all your marketing out. I'm not going to, have humongous live shows. I'm not going to do some of the coaching that some of these other guys do as well that are out in the space. We're focused on what we're good at. Like, we have some of the best capital markets people in the world, right? The best, the brightest minds with the best pricing. Our pricing is incredible and going to be incredible. We want to bring that execution to the front and put it to the originators versus the other way around. So our focus is going to be, process changes. We're already making a ton of them, adding some technology in our portal, which is proprietary. So my portal is not an Encompass portal like everybody else. This isn't TPO Connect. We've built our own portal. So if we want to make a change or make an experience a little bit better, we're going to make those changes. Then the capital markets side, like, we want to bring the execution to our originators versus the other way around. Capital markets works in a fashion right now in our industry where they get the loans in and try and get the best execution after they got them, versus turning around saying, like, what is the axe on the street? What are people asking for? Let me see what is getting the best price and turn around and send it to you guys with the best price so you can go out and deliver it. You'll want just some more ammo for you out there in the field. And that's something we're going to be focused in on. And you guys, I'm mad at you. You don't know this either. You guys came out with your live stream and the community pulse. Well, we're coming out with, on Tuesday, is our first one. It's going out to everybody. We have AFR's Market Pulse. We're going to be taking capital markets and our knowledge base there and doing that on a daily commentary so people understand that, what's not just what the MBS moved, 30 basis points, but how does it affect your loan? How does it affect, like, what's the sweet spots today in Ginnie Mae execution? So your FHA loans are really good at 6.75 because of this. And really bring it out so you guys can be knowledgeable and have one more thing you can bring out to your referral partners that you know about, along with providing some assets that you can post there as well. So we're focusing in on that. That's what we're really good at. We're really strong at, and that's going to kind of change the shape AFR going forward.
Well, and listen, so don't be too mad at me, because what I'm thinking is there's an opportunity there for us when we do our quarterlies where we can leverage, some of your team as, an opportunity to provide specific market updates. We love Barry Habib. We also know he's very busy, as much as we'd like to get him on every single one. Love you, Barry. Shout out. Keep fighting. Prayers all your way, brother. But we'd love that opportunity. So I won't forget. I'll make sure I connect you with our team as well, because that'd be a major asset to us as well. So thank
Barry's
you for that.
Like the Nordstroms, and I'm like the Marshalls version. Yeah. Right? We'll take that. Like, he can be much nicer sports coat. Like, he can be the Nordstrom guy. We'll give you some different type of color, and ours will be free. It'll go out and it'll be there for everyone. But yeah, exactly. He is amazing, and I love all of his content. And it was great. The first one was amazing. So I know I couldn't crack that lineup, but maybe the next one we can get in there.
No, I appreciate that. And you never know if you don't ask either. So I really thank you for bringing that up. You're giving a lot of nuggets today. I am curious, though, with the capital market side of things on my end here. So when it comes to the capital markets, right, and I want to explain this in like the most layman terms possible, why is that so beneficial for brokers when you have such a dialed in capital markets team? Can you explain that into layman terms and what we're actually able to do with capital markets?
Yeah, the world has changed in capital markets. It used to be kind of everything is run off of one base price, and everything spins off of that particular coupon or that particular MBS. Now it's about splicing and dicing, and how do you get different types of loans pooled together where there is more value, and that's the key component now. There's what we call stories in the capital markets world, where you take certain types of loans, and let's just say, which is more likely to refinance if rates drop 100 basis points? A loan that is $85,000 or a loan that's $600,000? A guy saving $700 a month, or a guy who's saving 32 and has to go through the same effort. Like, those higher loan balances sometimes prepay quickly. These smaller loan balances and these stories that can be built up, there's opportunity for additional premium for us in the capital markets world. And that's not something for us that we want to take in as margin. We want to turn around and pass that through in price So you guys get more loans. And it used to be like, oh, $100,000 loans is all that's where the stories are. But these things go up to 300, 350, even 400,000. There's FHA only stories. There's New York stories. There's Florida stories. So there's all these different ways to package, slice, and dice that most people don't know. And if you don't have a sophisticated capital markets team, they just go to the market and go to the street and sell as is, and that's it. But if you can splice and dice, there might be an extra 30, 40, 50 basis points available. And then you blend all that in and pass that through in your pricing. So if you're dialed in and have it right, you can go find those stories, turn around and pass them through. So that way you get the story, right? It's you are creating the pools just by putting them forward and sending a certain price for a certain type of loan. And you got to close them fast and get them to the capital into the secondary markets as fast as possible, so you can make sure you can get that gain. But that is going to be the story going forward. It's all about like speeds and pricing and how things pan out in the capital markets world and how we can pass that through. And we know like not a lot of people are doing what we're doing. Like we see the rate sheets. I look at it all. We're paying attention to it. There's some players out there right now that aren't sophisticated in their capital markets space, and we have a little bit of a leg up on them right now.
And the reason I love that too, and why, it's all about, look, and this isn't a bad thing, but it's not, brokers, we're not spending a lot of time dialing into capital markets. But I always talk to people, especially in the role I'm in now, and now the additional conversation I'm having and all the stuff I'm learning. It's like, I believe there's value in here for multiple reasons. Number one, if you understand capital markets, then when you're signing up with a lender, you can ask these questions. Hey, how good is your capital markets team? I know that would throw off so many AEs. So the fact that you're able to spit that out so quickly and put it into such layman terms that it's easy to understand, your team's literally looking for these opportunities. They're finding them. They're dialed into them. And it changes. If I'm not mistaken, these can change daily in terms of potential opportunities that occur. Your team finding them, they package them this certain way, then they're able to basically pass that money that you're saving because of the way they're packaging them. And it could be up to, from what I hear, 40, 50 basis points. And instead of you keeping the profit, you're literally saying, hey, look, we're passing it back to the broker community. This is why our pricing on certain loans are just going to be better than somebody else that might be out there. Is that the case? Am I understanding?
Exactly right. Yeah. I mean, it could be even more like the spec world, they call it specified pools. Like it's huge. It's vast. It could be 300 basis points sometimes. But when you have to take into account, like there's smaller loan balances, so it's not a lot of money sometimes that you can gain. But yeah, the idea for us is even more so is finding what that is, what they're looking for in the new story. And how do we get almost every penny back out? Sometimes we'll go as much as 90% of what's available and put it out. You might see us on the rate sheet sometimes and be like, is this right? Is AFR right on the $140,000 loan? Like, boy, I hope their process is better because I'm going to send them this loan because they're priced 100 bips better than someone else. So, we're seeing that our team is fine tuned, and it comes from our capital markets team saying what's available, and then for us saying, all right, let's go get it. Like we want it, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because you need a certain amount of those loans to make a pool anyway.
Yes.
So you can't go in and kind of half-ass it. You have to go all in and pass that price so you can guarantee you're going to get it. Because if you don't get it, you're stuck not making that money that you priced out. So you want to go in. It's this fine kind of balance you have to do and toe the line and try and get that volume. And then when you start seeing the volume come in, then we can start like really turning up, the pricing piece to this, and then that brings in more volume. So like I said, it's different. The way we have it right now, nobody gets to the front lines of their rate sheets and to the pricing engines of what the stories are faster than us.
I love that, man. And it's just important to know. And, I'm going to throw this question your way and I don't want to throw it you off, but the type of broker, right? You said it, you actually said something that I loved. Look, this is who we are. We're not going to do your marketing for you. Okay. We're not going to do your trainings for you. Here's who we are. So when it comes to the broker that you're looking for, you're like, look, we're a great fit. And I know it's everybody, right? It's all about the business, but who are you looking for? What kind of dialed in human being are you looking for?
Yeah. Someone that has their files in order, right? Always. You're an operations person and we're in the business of fulfillment. Like the better the file quality is and the tighter that loan is, the better for us and easier to get through the manufacturing process. So, for the brokers, we have a lot of approved brokers because we sign up a lot of people because we were niche. So we have tons. I'm not out looking for new brokers. Like that's actually a weird thing to say. We go out and we say like, hey, we have enough. Like we need to find the ones that want to work with us a certain way and get a process built out so we get more volume and more wallet share from them. But we have, lots of approved brokers already. So, for us, the perfect broker that's out there is understanding of the markets and what's happening in the space understanding of feedback, and that it's a two-way street. Like, it can't be a one-way street only of negative feedback. We want the positive, we want the negative, what was good, what was bad, what can we improve on? And then, in our business, we can scream fire sometimes when there's no fire, right? Like, we have to understand where the escalations are, and we've revamped our whole escalation system. The broker that understands what's an escalation is the one that, like, those are the ones that that get it. The ones that just, this is the way to put it. I talked to Jamie Kavanaugh yesterday or 2 days ago, and she put an incredible post up on Bab, and like, talked to her for probably, it was supposed to be 15 minutes. We talked for like an hour. Like, she just gets it. She just gets it. You just go through it and you're like, oh, she gets it. They understand. Those are the types of people we love working with. We'll work with everyone because we think it's like, we have a really good product that we want to help as many borrowers as we possibly can and brokers as we can. But, somebody that has it and gets it and understands that it's a two-way street, those are the kinds of folks we want to work with. So it's still a relationship business on this side.
And here's what I love what you said. First of all, shout out to Jamie. You're the best, Monster. She's been a great mentor to me as I transition into this role as well. Here's the reality. And you talked about escalation. So I'm still originating. And to all of you out there, I love all of you. I am here. We're jumping all over fires. But the truth of the matter, as much as we all think we are the best LOs that we possibly can be, that answer is that's just not the case. It's not true. A lot of the escalations that we get coming into AIM, a lot of them are user error. And I say that with the most respect because I've done it too, right? I've been in that position. And what I mean by user error is that 1003 is not as dialed in as it needs to be. Like, that's the biggest thing that we're seeing when it comes to these escalations. A lot of escalations can be avoided by ensuring that 1003 is dialed in when it comes to the processing side. And Rob, on your side, that's what the data is also indicating to you, it sounds like. So
we didn't have the conversation with the borrower, right? We didn't have the context that the loan officer has sometimes. And like, oh yeah, I forgot. Oh, they do. Yeah, they stopped working there a year ago, but I forgot to put it on the, and you're like,
what can we do better?
Yeah.
What's the story that we can tell? Like, what can we as brokers do better from what you're seeing? And this isn't just for you. This is helpful for everybody, whoever they're using. Like, what do we have to be focused on?
Yeah, it's that right there, the data, right? The data is everything. So the better the data is, the more we can automate, the better pricing we can pass through, the less our cost to complete is. It's literally that simple. If you put in something that's bad, we'll close it. But maybe you'll see this a lot in wholesale over the next, probably year, 2 years. There's going to be significantly tiered pricing or something where it's like, hey, if you're not able to deliver, like, the cost to complete is just too expensive when things aren't tight. So like, if you're going out and trying to find the data to get your loan closed on behalf of the originator, that makes it a difficult process. That's a person or some kind of technology that's really going in and trying to help with the origination side. We'll do it, but it's not fair to the one that gets it done because and has it perfect. Like, that person should get a little better price or better speed or a lower fee for underwrite. So that's the stuff that we'll be working on. And those that have it together will have a better price or a lower fee of some semblance, shape, or form. And, some of the other larger players out there do it right. They have certain, like, it's more just some gamesmanship in what you're doing or gamification of what's happening there. I get that. It makes, in the end, that's what they're trying to accomplish with that. And we want to do something similar to that without, too many hoops. But the idea is that, we want to reward those that do it the right way. And that's the kind of people we want to work with.
And there's nothing wrong with that either. Y'all for listening, like, whenever I have a complicated file, I always do a letter to the underwriter. So, but what part of my submission is like, to whom it may concern. And I'll walk them through certain parts of that I believe are complicated. For instance, if I have variable income, I give my entire explanation to how I did it. Here, I have the year-end pay stubs for 23 and 22. I have the W-2s as well. I also get the writtens up front, especially if these are the FHA DPA loans. Those have increased drastically. In terms of production wise, right? A lot of companies are higher than they've ever thought when it comes to DPA. So they're having to change the rules. But here's the reality. On an FHA loan with variable income, you need writtens every time. Yep. So it's like, why pretend to be surprised and then get mad at the underwriter when you're getting a condition that you're like, oh, this shouldn't be needed. Yes, it is. It's needed. It pops up every time. Take the extra look. It might take you 24 hours to get the written, but who cares? At least, when you're putting something into process, you're not going to run into a potential dumpster fire because that's what happens, right? Every single time. What are you seeing from the data point in terms of loans that are going south? Are you seeing a certain type of product, a certain type of just loan in general where the data is indicating, hey, look, the not the default, but the withdrawal rate, the denial rate are higher on a certain loan?
Yeah, I mean, it's always comes down to that variable income piece and some of the asset pieces, not sourcing that initially. It's always there. But, for us, with our mindset, it's funny, the way you're describing it, it's hilarious because on the front end, I'm sitting there going like, all right, how do we get our brokers to get the best file in? How do we do it? Like, this is like, we need it tight, perfect app coming in, all the docs we need. How do we get this right? And then I'm turning around to my ops team and leadership going like, if it's a darn blank app, we should be able to close it in 14 days. I don't care. They didn't send you anything. Just a blank 1003. Get it done. Let's find a way to get it done. And we got to find something in the middle that works, right? And that's it. Like we being in the origination space, having done it, having talked about the escalation and like, blowing up a CR or something when you're doing a loan, or blowing up the chain of another lender when you have to call for your escalations and do that, and you're doing that, and meanwhile you're sitting back and you're like, man, I messed that one up. Like, I've done it. Like, I've been there and done that. I've messed up some pretty dumb stuff. Don't look at my MMI data; it's really bad.
No, you're good, man.
But it's interesting to have lived it and gone through those processes. And now I'm like, hey, this is all we want to do is put some comfort in knowing like we see the biggest area of like disdain from the broker community and loan officers in general is when something is going a little bit sideways and they can't get a clear, defined timeline for the resolution. And that's something that like that it sticks with me and it sticks with them. Obviously, they want to find a way that if they escalate, they know, all right, great. In an hour, I'm going to have a response. It might not be the answer, the full answer, but at least we know this is the pathway we're doing going forward. Like that's what we want to create. We want to create an environment where it's all transparent and it isn't this, sent the email, someone sends you a reply, they have 24 hours to reply. And now they call 12 different people. Now I have the CC tree happens on the email where everybody and their brother is on an email chain and you have 5 different leaders working on something. Like that's just chaos. There's no way to scale that process. So creating a methodology for any type of issue to move it out of the highway and keep everything moving on the highway and move it separately and have a really good, focused, experienced team solve for your escalations. And that's how we're building our process now. So like that part, I would say we're probably, we're halfway there already. We've made some changes to our escalations side, but our technology is coming in now to have something that makes brokers just understand, all right, this is the issue, this is the timing, and this is when I'm going to get my answer. Great. And that better be fast.
Listen, I got a lot more questions for you to be upfront with you, but we're going to pivot out of here. I want you to end it, but I want to just say a couple things. First and foremost, like for those of you watching, listening, these are the types of conversations that we need to be having. The biggest thing with him that I loved about Rob is the fact that I said, hey, man, you guys are supporters of AIM, but I'd like to talk about pain points. He immediately said, that's what I was hoping you were going to talk about. He wants to take everything head on. This is what it's like when somebody from an origination standpoint is leading the charges. This guy is dialed in. You see how effective he is. You see all the knowledge that he has. These are the types of partners that AIM has constantly been working on to build our relationship with. We're very proud to be partnered with AFR. And we're going to push the community forward to make sure that if you have given them a chance and you had a bad experience, give them another chance, because this is the type of leadership that we're looking for when we're vetting out all of these lenders. And I'm very grateful for you being direct, for you being so transparent, so open, and more importantly, just sharing your wealth of knowledge. You're constantly positive. You're constantly inside of our group, helping people propel forward. And I just want to make sure people know that we got AFR's back, just like they have AIM's back. And please, please, please leverage them, use them, and make sure you're giving them the opportunities and delivering the feedback, just like Rob talked about. With that being said, Rob, I want you to end it. Anything that you'd like to end it with, it could be an elevator pitch, whatever it might be, but the floor is yours.
Thank you. No, I don't have a closing statement prepared. I will say this. I'm never going to ask you for a loan, ever. I'm never going to be in the spot where I'm asking you for a loan. I want the loan when it's earned. We're not there yet. Well, some of you guys are having a really good experience. That's awesome. Not everybody is. We are earning the loans one broker at a time. And that's truly how I have to approach this. It's one message at a time, and it's literally one solution at a time. And then the experience is getting better. I love getting the feedback when there's a positive thing happen, having a loan close in 5 days or 7 days, and seeing that as well, that things are working, that's fulfilling. The last thing I'll say, for this and AIM and kind of the community, and I said it before, the community won in this transition. The community is one. What we're seeing right now with AIM and Brokers Are Better and this whole network and this, like I said, it's just community is the best word for it. We want to keep this going. It is so good for the channel. It's so good. You need the support. We've got to, knock down some of the divides that are out there. And really the community has to kind of build on itself. And these are the kinds of things that are going to get it there. And we're here for support. If you guys have a question, it's not just about AFR. If you have a question about, some of the capital market stuff or how EPOs work, what is the servicing strip, any of the stuff that it piqued your interest or you wanted to know how it worked, just shoot me a message. I have no problem doing that. Going on bad, but we'll explain it. We'll do whatever we need to do to have you guys have the knowledge base to be better originators going forward. So that's our job, is how do we make you guys look better, know more, and get more loans in, and hopefully you can pass them our way.
Listen, thank you so much for everything. Everybody, it's Rob Peak Low, that easy to remember, COO of AFR, recently took over here in the recent transition back in February. They're doing all the right things, supporting us, helping us propel forward. Appreciate all of you. Take care. Have an incredible day. Till next time.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.